when I have gone into, these hikes where we're doing 20 to 25 miles a day at altitude, one of the things that I start to crave is mayonnaise. Like,
Really? That's
I do.
unusual.
Yeah. So like, and the first time, like I definitely was experiencing some elevation sickness. And so I like wasn't eating at all there's like almost nothing I could eat. I got off the mountain. The only thing I wanted was like a Subway sandwich with like extra mayonnaise on it. I don't know why. So then I was like, okay, there's something to this. So I started to bring mayonnaise packets and like a wrap, like a tortilla, some kind of meat in it, some cheese and mayonnaise is like heaven on earth for me for some reason. But I think what it kind of comes back to is maybe what I'm experiencing is just this deficit of having anything with fats in it or something. I don't know. Maybe I just need more calories, period. And my body knows that's a great way to get calories. I'm not totally sure. But I crave it.
You might just be craving calories, and that's where you're getting calories from.
Just, yeah. Because like I'll have calories, but it's like I don't want sugar. It's like I don't want carbs and sugar. The last trip that we did where I was really, I had not done enough meal planning, and I just went down and I have like a ton of food, like bars essentially, and sugary stuff in my closet that I've been using for ultra running and training all summer. And so I just started grabbing and going. And when I got out on trail, I was like, I don't want any more gummies, and I don't want another honey stinger waffle, and I don't want another bar. But like some of these other things I was really craving. And so I think that speaks to what you're saying with trying to match what you eat at home. Like I'm not eating a bar or gummies all day long at home. But you brought up another food that I'm interested in that's like, because I think there's things that people try to boost calories with, right? There's like olive oil that people just add to everything, right? Like that's like the default,
right?
Like throw olive oil.
It's not necessary.
Yeah, but powdered milk. It seems like powdered milk is kind of a staple in quite a few of your recipes. What's the benefit there? I mean, why should people be looking at that as a supplemental piece to their diet?
For the reason why I use it so much is that it's like my ultimate combination food. As you get carbs, protein, fat, you actually get a lot of electrolytes. You'd be surprised how much sodium is in milk powder. You also get some potassium in there. So it just has all those things in it and actually tastes good too. So you can use it in a lot of things just to kind of, here's the dietitian, getting like a creamy texture to things, or use it as a thickener so you can sneak it into things without having like, a significant change in the flavor. So that's why I use it a lot. And soy milk for the vegan people, you could use soy milk powder or almond milk powder too. Unfortunately, they're not as calorically dense, but they also give you the protein and those kind of things. So that's an alternative, but that's the reason why it's one of those combination foods that I love.
Is there certain milk powder that's better than others? And like, are you biased towards anything?
I just like the Nido, the Nestle, the big yellow can. I just like the flavor of it. It's easy to obtain. It's inexpensive. There's another brand. Is it Peak? I want to say, I can't remember the other brand. There's another brand that might be organic that people really love, but I go through so much of it that it's easy for me to run to the grocery store, pick it up off the shelf and use it that way. But if you don't need the calories, you can use the non-fat milk powder and still, again, get the carbs, protein, but you're just not going to get the high calories as the whole milk powder.
Is there any other like types of food like this that could be supplemented or added into things that are just super helpful like that?
I like to use nuts. I grind up, again, with my smoothies, I grind up nuts in my coffee grinder, and you never know they're in there. And again, you're getting carbs, protein, and fat. So I usually use a tablespoon, maybe even a quarter cup of nuts and powder them. So that's another way of sneaking it in to where you're not like having to chew on nuts, because I love nuts at home, but when I'm on trail, I can't stand them. So I don't know what it is about them, but I just can't eat them. So that's another way to add them in.
I think I get fatigued with nuts. Like it's like I'll start eating them and it's good. Like I experienced this with trail mix where it was like, okay, a little bit of trail mix is awesome. And it's so calorically dense that I'm going to just double the amount of trail mix. And I got out on trail and I'm like, blech. I was like actually shocked. I was like, I can't finish this trail mix today. And then the next day came and I was like, I can't finish it again. Like, what's going on? I've never had a problem with that. But I get very fatigued of eating nuts, I think, and especially if I'm eating them like in one meal. Mm-hmm. So I think like with what you're saying, like you're probably breaking that up into a lot of meals throughout the day too, right?
Right. That's what I was going to say. I use them in my smoothie, but I also sneak them into oatmeal. I sneak them into couscous meals. I sneak them and I chop them up super fine. So you don't actually really notice that they're in there, but they're giving you the nutrition. So I use them all over the place. I don't necessarily always use macadamia nuts, even though they're the most calorically dense. But I use a ton of pecans and almonds and walnuts. Again, it gives you flavor, a little texture, because everybody gets tired of couscous too. Even though it's so easy, hiker friendly, but that's just another way to boost the meal by adding in a few nuts.
Yeah. So we've got oil, milk, nuts, anything else to consider like that?
I love chia seeds. So those, not everybody likes the texture of them. So I've actually started grinding those. My coffee grinder gets so much use. I'm going to have to get an industrial one, because right now each drink I have to do individually in my little coffee grinder, and it's not working. It's not efficient with the volume that I'm making. But I'll grind those up too. And it just almost is like a thickener for drinks or oatmeals and those things. So if you don't like the gooiness of a chia, then you can do that and you won't even know they're in there.
Okay. Yeah, those are some really good options that I do need to start.
Quinoa is my other one. That's my other go-to. Is I never use white rice, instant rice. I feel like it's just like zero nutrition in it. So I'll use quinoa instead, because again, combination food. It has all the things in it per gram food that you would have to have white rice, tuna, all these other things, when you could have so much more in just a smaller amount. And that's part of the ultralight meal planning too, is you don't feel like you're eating these huge volumes all the time, because it's so nutritionally dense that my black bean, sorry, I hope you can't hear my dog. My black bean dip is only half a cup a dip, but you'd have to eat, I did a comparison to the entire Backpacker's Pantry chana masala to get the same amount of nutrition as to what the black bean dip is that I do.
So with a lot of the food processing and stuff you're doing at home, are you really like reducing the footprint of the amount of space and things like that?
Right.
I mean, it sounds like you're really condensing everything down by the processing you're doing in the kitchen.
Right. And I can easily get in 5 to 7 days into like the regular beer bag, into one of the, I forget what they're called. I had bought it so long ago. But I can easily get that many days. Whereas if you're maybe doing what you're doing, how many days of food can you usually get in like a beer bag? 3, 4, maybe?
For the most part, I've avoided beer bags.
Oh.
But yeah, I don't know. Probably more like 3 would be my guess. Like I definitely am not making a big conscious effort of like compacting everything down, because that's kind of like the thing. As you're saying that, I'm like, well, would I ever feel full? Would I like? Because
that's so nutritionally dense.
Right. Like as Americans, like a lot of things we eat is just to gain a sensation of getting full. Right. Like a lot of the carbs we eat has a lot to do with that. Right. So I'd be almost a little concerned if all of my food could be this condensed. Like, am I going to feel hungry on the days? Or
you'd be surprised, because fat's so satiating that you're going to feel full. So, and the other part is slow down. So if we actually slowed down and took our time to eat, then you're going to get full faster. You're going to feel more full. But what I was going to say about the beer can, actually, one of my hikers, I did a test because I was making it. She's in the Sierra, or she's out now. But she's like, Erin, I've got to get 7 days in my beer can, like help me out. So I did a test here, and sure enough, I was able to I crammed it in, but I was able to get 7 days worth of food in her beer can. So it worked out really well.